Hello my fellow gamers and welcome once again to Perafilozof City Skylines videos. In this video I'm going to continue to build up my 1 million city, at least the city in which I plan to get 1 million population. In the previous episode I had finally solved all my traffic issues by adding the cargo train terminal, actually two of them. This one had the problem, it wasn't working. I had to at the end bulldoze it and make a new one, but now both of them work and they are taking the transportation trucks that are exporting and bringing in the goods that are sent to the industry to process. Now, I had also started switching some of my industry for offices, which I will continue to do in this video. I'm doing this because I need to get rid of some of these trucks. The offices are still industry by the game's standards, so even though I might not have industry per se, the offices do count as industry and therefore they will reduce the industry demand. I will go slowly, an area by area, because it usually overwhelms the game if you dezone too much too fast. Over here I had already finished this area, but there is a little bit more that could be done. Let's just find which spots. Perhaps over here, like this. And that's enough for now, I believe. I do have only this spot here and the demand is very low now, so I better back off from that. Like I promised in the last video, I am finally going to expand to this plot here and expand my city. I'm going to use high density residential zones, high density commercial zones, some offices and some industry. The industrial zones are going to be mostly forestry, but where I have a spot of this fertile land for agriculture, I will use that as well. I keep using those industries because they do not produce pollution, even though the wiki says that the forestry industry produces like a few percentages of pollution. It does not seem to produce any at all whatsoever. You can see here. Oh, wait a minute. What do we have here? Ready to wear and ready to wear. What's going on here? This must be generic industry because the district, yep, the district isn't developed as it should be, and therefore this became generic industry. This was supposed to be agriculture and now it's going to change into it. And where did we have another one that was problematic? Here we go, over here. Probably the same problem with the district. Yep, I had reduced the size of the district and it turned the building from agriculture into generic. Good thing I turned on that overview and saw the problem before it became too big to manage. I do still have some offices that are supposed to come up here, and this part over here hasn't gone up yet. The demand is still pretty much the same, maybe a little bit more. But I should leave this part of the city as is. It does seem to have some traffic jams here, although I don't remember these from the previous episode. Let's see, they're all trying to use this road here, while they could use that one as well. So this four-way intersection is creating a little bit of an issue. It could probably be solved somehow, but I did promise you to expand the city, so I will keep my hands off of this part for now. How am I going to expand? That is a good question. I have been thinking to expand in the same way that this city looks like, just with a few minor modifications. Well, yeah, I wouldn't call entire zoning differential a minor thing, because I plan to have industry zoned in a thin line, then some offices and commercial, then a huge line of residential. So not like here where I have it vertical, I want my zones to be horizontal. Well, of course it depends on which way you look at it, but since I keep looking this part of the city from this perspective to help you remember where what is and to help myself where what is, so I will use this perspective to look at this part of the city. Of course, this part is also going to need some cargo train terminals. I haven't yet planned out exactly where I'm going to put them. I mean, I did play a little bit with this when I had some free time and tried out some ideas. I especially had a crazy idea about this spot here, but I will leave that for later. I do at the moment have a pretty fat bank account. That's 350,000 that I can spend on expanding. I am having an income of 8,000, which I could probably expand if I raised the taxes for the offices, because they are now a lot more predominant than they used to be. So 10% should increase my taxes a little bit. And I am going to use high density residential and commercial very soon, so I should probably raise the budget on them as well. If I take a look at here, I am paying a lot for the fire safety, police safety, for the trains as well. But the highest amount of money I'm paying for the incinerators to get rid of the garbage. Now they do produce some power, but the cost to power ratio is insanely high. I am spending a lot of money for only a little bit of power. I should be able to soon get rid of these landfill sites once they are emptied. Oh right, one of these should be emptying. Let's say this one. And then I will delete them. At least that will save me about 200 per week for each one of the landfills. The incinerators are simply necessary because you just cannot keep building landfills and filling them, especially if you're playing on game speed 2 or 3. They get filled up pretty quickly, especially if you have a large city. Now, enough talking, and let's get to building. First of all, I need to expand these two roads. Yes, I am keeping to the two roads in the middle, one road on each side the design for now, and because I have this new zoning idea, I'm going to try how that is going to work out. Well, I won't lie, I already tried it a little bit, but not on a city scale, so this should prove interesting. Let's see, this highway goes forward. I'm going to disable the snap tool so I can keep the road as close to the train tracks as possible. Not sure how far am I going to go. Let's see how much is from here to here. That's about 21,000 credits. So if I want to match this side of the city in this side, I should keep to that amount of money. So that would be up until here somewhere, which is pretty okay. I won't be too close to that intersection for the train, where I plan to have my own intersection for the highways. So this is long enough. Let's see just how much more is this if I start from here. So almost 2,000. So I should go up until about 19,000 with this road. That would mean up to here. I want to get very close to the rail, so I'm gonna stop right here. Same goes for the road on this side. Connect it very close to the rail. Done. Alright, that was pretty costly. Maybe I should pause the game, or maybe not. I mean, I am earning probably more than I'm spending on maintaining these roads while the game is running, so I might as well leave it like this. Alright, let's turn this back on. So I should be okay running the game while I am creating this new part of the city. As before, I need to have another interstate, the highway that's gonna go like this, because this is the entrance. See if I remember correctly. Yes, the right side is the entrance. So I want to go over here, down here, over this thing, through here, and then come back into this one. So from here I need to turn it to the right side a little bit, like so. Then go straight. Need to go up to about here. Then turn it once again. Maybe I should actually come from this side so that I hit the same spot as this one is. There we go. And now to this side. There we go. I would have missed it if I started from there. Good thing I remembered to check. Although I will have to now turn this straight like this. And now we have a full road built. From here I will have entrances that go from here into these areas, and then exits to go here. As for this part of the city, well, I will leave that for later, as I'm not yet sure how that will all work out. I may have to do a similar thing that I did here on this side, but that will depend on where the traffic comes from. For that, I first need something to ask for traffic, and those would be the high density zones and the industrial zones. Now let me just see how I'm going to build this. I'm going to keep using the 2 lanes, but I'm going to use a little bit of a more expensive road, the 2-lane roads with trees, to cut down on the noise pollution and help my areas have a higher land value. I believe that the noise pollution can reduce the land value. Now if I want an incinerator to be in this spot, like in this city, in the well, in this spot it's not in the edge, but here it is, so I'm trying to copy something like that. I need to first see just how much room does it take. So if it were to be placed like this, it's gonna take up room right after the spot that this highway turns. So my road is going to have to be about here for the incinerator to have enough room, and this coincides with the size of the zone here. Now one thing that while I was testing I had a problem with was when I tried to get the zones to be very close to the road, I would end up with too little space for there to be actually enough space for a park, and that was pretty annoying because check this out. Okay, I'll use a less expensive road to show you what I'm talking about. So if I were to go and do this, and now I look for the road that's gonna bring the zone very close to the highway but not too close, and now I try to plant the smallest park possible, for example this one. There's no room because the park is just tiny incy part bigger than 4 squares for a zone. So I actually have to build it a little bit bigger than just 4 zones, and to keep it from snapping I will turn off the snapping tool. So not like this, not like this. Oh come on, stop snapping. Okay, this would be too much. I think I have a solution for the problem with the snapping from the side, is to go snap from here to get a straight road, and then to turn off the snap and go from here. Maybe that wasn't the solution. Maybe this will be. Alright, there we go. So this would actually not leave enough room for a park. I have to use the next. Yep, not this line in between the 5th and the 6th square, but the next line over here. And now there will be enough room for a park to be placed here. Now, why am I needing parks here? Because of the design that I want to have huge parks in the middle that will overlap with the parks on the edges, and that should give good coverage for the land value and leisure activities for my sims who are going to live here. So now to disconnect these, to upgrade this one to this. Alright, left click. And then I can keep going. Of course, I will not connect. I will just go up to the highway with the road. Now, how far do I want to go up? Well, I've been doing some calculations about how much high density do you need compared to the jobs that are required in the high density commercial zones, in the industrial zones, and the offices. And when you look at, for example, an office at level 2, okay, that is level 1. Let's find level 2. Do I even have a level 2 office? Nope, I don't. Alright, level 1 then. It requires in total for a building that's 4x4, and this is a 4x4, 8 workers. Let's see if that's always the same. 8, 8, 8, 8. So level 1 requires 8 workers. I think it requires a little bit more at level 2. Just like the commercial, I believe, requires a little bit more when it levels up. See, 6, and this one is, I believe, the same size, yet it requires 9. So as they level up, they require more workers. While the homes have about the maximum size of 5 households per building. So you get, 4 young adults and 10 seniors. So in total, that's about 14 people. While in a high density zone, you get about 20 plus households, so that's a lot more sims. So you have to be careful about that fact that the low density residential areas will require large areas to be zoned for only a small amount of industry or commercial. While if you have high density, you aren't gonna need so many zones to be filled with residential to fill the need for workers for the industrial, commercial, and offices. Okay, for factories, offices, and commercial. I shouldn't keep calling the offices non-industry when they are industry. In any event, I have freed up this spot here for the incinerator, so I will plop it. I also need to get the power connected to this other part of the city as well as the water, so this I will do by using these. Pylons will get here. The water will also need to go up there. For that I will go like this and then just have this one go all the way up. No need to spend that much money right now. Let's say up to here. From here I can just go in the other direction. Again, no need to go further than this. And from here I just keep on using the optimum placement to cover as big of an area as possible without spending too much money. I know that it might look silly trying to save a few bucks, credits, now that I have a large income, but I am a perfectionist and can't help it. Alright, one more. Where are you? There we go. Am I going to have water for this area? Yes. Am I going to have power for this area? Yes. Alright, if that's done, I have the incinerator placed here. I might as well turn it off. I mean, why waste money for its upkeep when I'm not using it? Good thing I remembered that before I spent too much on its upkeep. And what is my income? Only 6,000. Huh. Why so low? 4% unemployment. That's a pretty low income. Did I mess anything up here? No. Am I spending a lot on these things? Well, not that much. I better start zoning more to get more taxes before I lower my income too much. Alright, so where did I stop at? Alright, how many zones of residential compared to the industry? Well, I've been thinking about 6 4x4 areas for residential, 1 4x4 for commercial, 1 4x4 for offices, and 1 more 4x4 for forestry and agriculture industry, depending on the spot where the industry comes up. And because in here I'm starting with first the residential zones, then there will be high density commercial, then an office. Now the problem is, if I place the offices next to the residential zones, they're not going to give them noise pollution. But if I place the office next to a high density commercial zone and an industrial area, then the offices are going to suffer from the noise pollution. I'm not entirely sure which is the worst outcome, for the residents to suffer some noise pollution from the high density commercial zones, or the offices to suffer from the noise pollution. I think the offices would maybe be easier to level up against the noise pollution than the residential areas. So what I may go and do is high density residential zones, offices, commercial, and then industry. I'll try that. But in order to build that, I will need more roads. And to build more roads, I need to first see how long do they need to be. And to see that, I need to go like this. Okay, now I will have to pause the game. For once, for twice, for thrice, and for a fourth time. So that would be the residential area in here. I did say 6, didn't I? Well, 4 is because it's over here, and there's no, again, industrial, commercial, and offices in here. But when I get up to here, there will be 6, because on both sides I will have some commercial, industrial, and factories and offices. So here is 4 high density residential areas. Then I have the offices, correct? Then the commercial, and then the industry. So if I wish for a street to go through here now and keep one empty square for the industry not to build its entrances and exits on this street here, but rather on this one, I have to leave this much space clear. So this is the basic prototype of a zone. This area needs to be connected with an actual highway off-ramp. And there we go, connected. The exit is going to be over here. So yes, they will be exiting on something that leads them away from the actual clover and the interstate, because I want to lessen the amount of traffic that can go straight into it. But rather they will have to go around or perhaps move out here if I decide to buy that tile and connect a highway there, which I probably will do to reduce the amount of traffic going through here. But we'll see what situation develops as the zones develop. Now let's get some more roads down here, all the way to about here. Again, here I need to leave enough room to be able to build the actual park, and this would be not enough room. Let's try this again. Again, same spot. Okay, now this is too much. How about I go up to here and then, whoops, I had unpaused it by accident. Okay, let's try. Nah, this is still not gonna be enough. There, that's gonna be enough. Alright, and from here it can connect to the highway as an exit ramp. These guys probably started building already. Nope, don't build there. Don't want to build a housing next to the incinerator. And now I can actually build zones on which I will zone these guys. This spot here I will leave for the incinerators, and then later on I'm going to leave just this big of an area for an unlock that I'm waiting for. It's the solar power plant, and then I will have solar power plants in these corners where it's already polluted by the incineration plants. Alright, can keep zoning here, just need to pick the right spots. There we go, hit it from the first, excellent. Let's try that again. Whoops, missed it again. There we go. Now you may ask me, Peter, where do you plan to have these services at? Well, the services are going to go somewhere in the middle over here, maybe even after 2 full rows of these zones, and then over here. I'm thinking a fire station is going to have to be the big one because the small ones have such a low range. The police station can stay the small one, not the headquarters. The clinic, I believe, as well, cemetery, and the crematorium, or just the crematorium. As for the elementary schools, if I have a zone all the way here, I may actually have to have some elementaries here, because I'm not sure. You can see here, if I were to place it here, then this portion here would not even have coverage. So yes, elementary schools and maybe some other services would have to be very close to the zones. So I'm going to go like this now. If this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, not counting the edge ones, so that's 9. The middle would be 1, 2, 3. Between the 4th from this side and the 1, 2, 3, 4 from this side. So the middle would be where? Here. Let's see, 1 zone, 2 zones, 3 zones, 4 zones. 1 zone, 2 zones, 3 zones, 4 zones. Exactly. This would be the middle. Now, I'm not sure, is this gonna be enough space for all the services and parks? I mean, if I were to use, let's say, a big park here, you can see that it cannot even fit. So that would present, well, it would fit in the other direction, like this. But then it would mean that the school would have to go even further up here. So I'm not sure exactly, would it be good to have the roads like this? Maybe what I should do is have the zone like this, this big, coming in from here, and let's say off of here, and then just have it this big, and then use this spot here for all these services, and then I can on the sides keep growing the residential industry offices, and then just keep going like this with the services if necessary, if not with more zones. Alright, so let's see how this would zone out. Have to keep away from the incineration plant, so all the way to here. Very annoying that I can't mark it somehow, so it's not here, it's not here. The first residential zones can go over here. So next to the road goes the industry, then the high density commercial, then the offices. And how much space then do I have for the residential? Perhaps just one. Let's check that again. So like this, and if I switch to the zone, whoa, not even this much space. Well, in that case, I might as well not have this area at all as industry and just have it as residential zones, like so. Let's see, how far is that? That's far enough. And up here I could have like one residential zone. And that should all be kept away from the pollution. There we go. Alright, but here I will go back to the original idea. Industry, medium density, high density commercial, and offices next to the residentials. If I want to grow this a little bit by a little bit, I should for now just use the power to go from this incinerator. Well, in that case, I might as well just build, what do I have a good demand of? Let's say I build a little bit of low density commercial just to draw the power from this area to the next. So let's say a small shop here and then a little bit more over here, and that should draw the power to this area. I'll zone this area afterwards as this one comes up. That will have the power, they will have the water. This thing can be turned on once I have zones to collect the garbage, and I believe that would be everything. The only problem is I just ran out of time for this video. But for you not to get mad at me, I'll play the game at least a little bit more for this zone to develop. I am keeping to about 30 minutes maximum per video. It's because of the size of the upload and pretty much the attention span of the viewers. But if you guys think that you could follow like 45 minutes or anything close to that length for a video, I have no problem uploading that that length of a video either. You can write me in the comment section what do you think would be the optimal length for a video. In any event, these zones are going up. I can put now more zones here and another one here. That should go up as well. I have good demand. I will need to start building up services pretty soon because, like I said always, if you unlock it, it's gonna start demanding it. So there might be a fire here or a crime by the time I actually plop the services. But I will leave that for the next video. Thank you all for watching and please stay tuned for more.